Okay, so we are going to start our topic, that is planning and experimental investigation. So first we have to learn what is meant by investigation. So the word investigation means like checking something in detail, checking something minutely. And what is meant by experimental? Like we are going to check something in detail by doing experiments. So basically, there are 7 steps to do so. There are 7 steps when we are carrying out an experimental investigation. The first step is suggest a hypothesis or idea to be tested. For example, what does that mean? It means that we should have some problem, we should have some idea which is to be tested, or we should have some problem which is to be solved in the 7 steps. So our investigation starts from the problem. Our investigation starts from the idea which is to be tested in the final step and which is to be solved in the final step. For example, we are having the issue, the problem of malaria, the disease of malaria which is spreading uh, among the people living near the water bodies. So we have the problem of malaria. Basically, we are having an idea of that. So in the second step, we are going to plan some series of experiments. For example, we had the problem that uh, the disease of malaria is spreading among the people near the living near the water body. Now in the second step, we are going to plan some experiments that we are going to check. We have to do experiments on the people which are having this issue. We have to do experiments. Like we are not actually doing the experiment, we are just planning an experiment. We are just planning a series of experiments that we have to do experiments on those people who are having this issue. Now in the third step, we actually carried out the experiment. Like we actually carried out the experiments on the people living in the near the water bodies who are affected, who are affected by the malarial disease. Like there is a difference between actually carrying out experiment and planning experiments. In the second step, we were just planning the experiment that we have to do the experiments on the people who are affecting by this issue. But in the third step, we actually did the experiments on those people, like uh, on the people that who are living near the water bodies like rivers, etc. Now in the fourth step, we have drawn the results from those experiments. Like we were doing the experiments, we have experimented the people, the infected people and the normal people. Like for example, we have done 2 to 3 experiments on the infected people, and the same we have done some experiments on some series of experiments on the normal people. Now what now in the third step, we will draw the results. Like we will draw the results from those experiments, like what we have experimented. Like if we are doing experiments on the infected people and the normal people, we will definitely use some instruments. Like if we, for example, check the fever, or we will check the high blood pressure, we always use an instrument. So in that case, in that case, we will also use an instrument. Like when we are going to do experiment, we will definitely use an instrument. So we have, for example, in the first step, we will draw the result, and those results we will, for example, we will draw them in the form of tables, in the form of charts, in the form of graphs. So so that they should be in the safe form. They should be in the safe form. Now in the fifth step, we will draw conclusions from that results. Like we have drawn the results that the infected people blood, that the people who were infected by the malaria, their blood, and the people who were normal, like who are not having this disease, there is difference between the blood of both. Like the blood of the infected people was different, and the blood of the normal people was different. So we have concluded this from the sorry we have drawn this result from the experiments. Now we will draw conclusions from the result. Like we have drawn the conclusions that the people living only near the water bodies were having the issue of malaria, and the people living far from the water bodies were not having the issue. It means there is some problem in the water. Like we have drawn this conclusion from our result, like their blood was different, and we have concluded this, that the people, only the people living near the water bodies were actually having this problem. That means the problem is the water, that there should be some third agency who is causing the problem. Like there must be some mosquito, there must be some any other fly that is causing the problem. So we have concluded this from our result, that the basic problem is that is causing the disease is water. Now in the final step we will solve that problem. Like we have, there must be some other problem, there can be some other problem, but for example our basic cause is, our basic problem is the like in the water, like the dirty water, that is basically causing the disease. So now in the final step we will solve that problem. Like we will solve the issue. If there is some third agency in the water that is causing the problem, we will solve that. Or if there is some problem in the water, we will solve that. Like in the final step we will actually solve the problem. We will actually solve the cause, that is that because of that the problem is the problem is there. So that's all.